It seems like the formula to make an amazing anime adaptation now is to take a game with a world so rich and adapt a subset of its lore into an anime. Now, this doesn't mean all game adaptations will do well, but when the right game meets the right animation studio, things just seem to click, and that's exactly what we got with Cyberpunk Edgerunners. This anime adaptation shows what happens when funding meets passion. I mean, we already have proof of this with Arcane, which took a whopping 6 years to come to fruition, and that's just the first season. It wasn't rushed into completion because the creators gave a damn about what actually happened to it and how it was received, and Edgerunners is no different. The show is canon to the game Cyberpunk 2077 and could feature some cool Easter eggs that reference some in-game adventures, but I haven't played the game, so whether you've poured 100 or 0 hours into the game, the experience is just as electric. The story centered around David, a teenage kid trying to make sense of what he wants out of life, but one thing's for certain, he knows he isn't going to find it at some prep school where he clearly doesn't belong. But what can he do? His mother works her ass off to pay the tuition fees so he can have a shot at the corporate big life, while David knows for certain that's not what he wants, so he inevitably continues to live out his mother's dreams for him until that dream abruptly fades. And just like that, David's mother is dead. That dream is gone. And this is the moment where you get a true glimpse at the callous nature of Night City. There's no funeral, there's no time to feel sorry for yourself because you're still late on rent and on the verge of being homeless. And on top of that, you don't even get to see your mother for one last time because she never paid for platinum health insurance, and instead she's delivered to you in a metal container. This is a world that takes the deceased and turns them into canned goods. It's here we understand the heartless nature of the world we're being dropped into. This world isn't built to allow just anyone to climb up the ranks unless you have some wealth. It's built to serve those already existing at the top and nothing else. David trudges through this world and somehow winds up with a piece of military grade cyberware that lets him travel at super speeds. He ends up meeting Lucy and the crew she's a part of, which can only be described as a group of true cyberpunks. They seem to embody everything that encompasses the subgenre and even elevate some aspects of it by adding their own flair. The group's built on one principle: don't let anyone else be your crutch, which translates to trust no one. And throughout the show you'll see these words ring true. The crew dynamics is what makes this show emotionally grounded, which is not something I was expecting with a show about cybernetic punks running amok. All I initially expected was high octane action, cool cybernetic body modifications, cool cars, and vibes, and I got that and more in 10 episodes. Now yes, I can understand why one of the main criticisms of the show was that maybe it was a little fast paced, but I feel like that was the whole point. We didn't need this long period of getting to know each and every character's backstory because it didn't matter. These characters were able to leave a lasting impression on me because of who they are as edge runners, not who they were. They had quirks, mannerisms, and styles that made them noticeable amongst the vibrant noise of Night City. These characters never needed cliche backstories to make them important and likable. These characters done that all on their own, without needing to dip into the bag of tricks that is storytelling. They were all unique and memorable in their own way, and it just doesn't stop at good characters. The stage set by Cyberpunk 2077 is a goldmine for endless stories to be told. One sentence my cousin said to me after I finished watching this anime was that you could tell this was a side story, and upon reflection I see his point. The world that is Cyberpunk can be leveraged to sing a mountain of untold tales of Night City and its lawless inhabitants. Endless possibilities just waiting to be discovered, and at the center of them all, a neon lit cityscape that's home to the filthy rich, the double crossing, the crazy, and the downright evil. And if every one of those stories can be made to look even as half as good as Edgerunners, we may be seeing the amazing result of the mainstream popularity of anime. Studio Trigger didn't just come to take part, they came to take over. You can easily see their fingerprints all over the show. The over-the-top animation, the bursting colors, and the exaggerated movement all ties together perfectly to showcase the thrilling ride that is Edgerunners. And not only does this elevate your experience of the show, but its ability to make certain moments hit harder and certain realizations settle in deeper was astounding and had me glued to my screen. This, coupled with amazing soundtracks in each episode, made this anime worth everything and more. The animation allowed the show to stay true to the gritty undertone present within Night City. Bodies got chopped in half, heads get blown off, and through it all you're met with the vibrant and fast-paced life of those who call themselves cyberpunks. But as much as Edgerunners is an action-packed cybernetic mess, at the center of all of this is a teenage kid still trying to find his place in Night City. One of my favorite things about this anime is that it doesn't give you a goal. David never really sets out to find anything or do anything in particular. It doesn't give you a hero's journey to latch onto, or it doesn't try to force the main character to half-heartedly achieve some righteous goal that's been conjured up for the sake of it. All this anime is and ever seems to be is a string of events. Things happen, shit hits the fan, and you gotta go double overtime to figure out what your next move will be, even if you don't know where you're heading, and even if you continue living someone else's dream. I believe the story is relatable in this sense, because the notion of living others' dreams plagues us in our everyday lives. It can be seen in the jobs we do. You say you find work interesting, well, you look at Excel spreadsheets all day and you'd rather be an author and anywhere else but here. So whose life are you actually living? We've all heard the phrase, it's not the destination, it's the journey, and I believe it's as clear as day with this anime. The roller coaster of ups and downs this anime takes you through will put you through the emotional ringer, and as soon as it does, it won't let you recover. It refuses to let you recover. And after all is said and done, you just wish the good times would last a little longer and the crew would laugh a little louder. This anime took me personally on a cybernetic adventure I'll never forget. It took me to each and every character's heart. It took me to the moon. It took me through Night City, and perhaps most importantly of all, it took me to the end.
So what you want?